Hey everybody, it's Adriel from StyleAssisted, and I've had so many requests for a Revel dip nail tutorial, so I thought I would go ahead and film one for you so you can see exactly how I do my nails. So this is my entire routine, start to finish, exactly how I do my nails, so hopefully this will help you learn how to do them a little bit better at home yourself. Now, I start off with clean nails. I don't use soap because that'll leave a residue. So I lightly buff the top of each one of my nails with a yellow fine grit file, and then after they've been washed, I go ahead and apply a little bit of this base coat, which is number 1, and you want to make sure you don't apply it too thick, otherwise when you go in to dip your nail, it will end up being chunky. So you go through and you do a little bit on all over your nail and then dip. I usually do immediately after because if you wait too long, it will not cover, it'll start drying out and then the powder won't adhere to your nails. So I started it with the first one and just kind of showed you how I did it, and now here's the fast version of what it looks like when I do the rest of my nails. You want to make sure, like I said, about 3 swipes. I usually just do 3 quick strokes and then dip it immediately in the nails. Make sure the application of the gel that you're actually putting on your nails, or the base coat, is super thin, and then I tap it off afterwards, and then once I get done with all 5 of the nails, I go ahead and I let them sit for about 10-15 seconds, and then you'll see I go ahead and brush them off, because once you're going on with step number 2, you don't want any excess powder on your nails. So once they're fully dry, I just go through, and this is a makeup brush, so you can use any brush you want, but I do suggest a fluffy brush instead of a paper towel or something of that nature. So I just go through and brush off the excess from every single one of those nails to make sure they are good and clean, because basically the stuff that adheres isn't going anywhere, but what you're trying to get is the excess powder off of those hands, because that will cause more clumping when you go through step 2. As you can see, the amount that is on my nails is still pretty thin. The color I actually picked for this is called Lovely, and this has been my suggestion to people starting off with dip nails, is to pick a thin, almost translucent color, because it's a lot easier if you mess up. It's a little more forgiving, and in general I think that it looks a little bit better in case you mess up. So I start with a very light color, and like I said, this is Lovely. This is the one I would suggest, and it makes, until you get the hang of it, it makes it so much easier. Now I'm going in with step 2. I'm going to do the exact same thing that I did with step 1 by applying a little bit of this base coat all over the nail and then dipping back in. Now this one, you want to make sure that you are using a little bit more care than you did before to get all the way back to your cuticle, and make sure you get the end, so you seal the tips of those nails as well. You are allowed to do 3 coats if you wanted to, but I just wanted to show you what 2 look like in this video. But if you wanted a thicker nail, or you want the color you're wearing to be a little bit more opaque, you can always do a 3rd round. But I do 2, and then I let them dry. Once they're completely dry, I brush them off again like you saw in the last time, and then I apply this quote-unquote step 2, which is the activator. The activator really sets that gel and that powder together. So I apply a very generous amount of activator to all of my nails and make sure that I'm really getting all of the corners and the crevices, and make sure that if there's powder on there that it is sealed in, because this stuff is amazing, but you cannot skimp on it. Activator is super important. I let the nails dry for 1 minute, and I make sure that they are in fact dry before I start the next step, because it's really important to make sure these have adequate time to cure and make sure they're hard before the next step. Now, once they're officially dry, I use a fine grit nail file, the same one that I used to gently file down my nails before I started the process. And this is the secret to amazing nails. So this is really where you can fix any mistakes that you have. You can go through and you can get close to the cuticle if you had a little bit too much near the edge. You can shape the ends if you got it on a little rough in certain areas, or you feel like you put a little bit too much, you can file this down. This right here, this step is what separates dip nails from everything else. I adore how that I have the ability to go through and fix my mistakes, because I don't know about you guys, but my left hand always looks really great because I'm right-handed. But then when I get over to my right hand, which is the one my left hand put on my nails, it looks horrible. So I love this step because it gives me the ability to go through, and if it's lumpy in one area, I can sand it down. If I, for some reason, got a little bit too much powder near the cuticle, I can buff that down. It really gives you the ability to go through and fix, without any repercussions, all of the things that you messed up. So right here you can see that I'm buffing away a little bit on the edge near the cuticle because I must have put it on a little bit too thick. If you feel like that you really want your nails to look thinner and more natural, like a typical nail polish instead of a gel, you can buff this down to a thickness or a thinness that you desire. And it's really forgiving and super easy. You can take as long as you need to do this. There's no time frame on this, so you can sit there and just look through everything. Make sure you have it where you want it. After that, you're going to go ahead and wash your hands without soap and dry. And once they're dry, then you go back with that activator coat, and you do quick strokes, completely covering the nail. Make sure that you cap the ends and you really get it on there because it's your last chance to do activator. And this is the final sealing of that gel. So once you do that, you go through and repeat all of those steps. And then once you're completely done, you wait 15 seconds. Once your 15 seconds are done, you're going to apply the finish gel. So the first coat of this should actually be pretty quick. We're thinking like 3 strokes of this. And you don't have to worry about getting the cuticle or close to the edges. You really just want to apply this pretty quickly and make sure you just get it on there. And like I said, I use some thin coats. I don't like thick, so I just do one down the middle and then one on each side. And then I repeat on all the nails, making sure that I get all of them covered. But the key for this is to go quickly. You're just going to want to make sure that this is not a super detailed coat. You're just making sure you get a little bit of this on each nail. Now, you wait 15 seconds and then you do the whole thing again, but this time you want it to have a more detailed and slower coat. And you want to make sure to not overbrush. You want this to look beautiful and the shine to be brilliant, but if you overbrush, it will negate some of that shine and make it a little lumpy. So if you notice, I'm going slower around each area and making sure that I get the full nail, but not doing lots of strokes. And if you were wondering why my voice is cracking while I'm recording this, I am actually getting over the flu, and I thought about pushing this back, but I really wanted to get this video out to you guys, so apologies for any weird voice sounding that you hear, and you're like, that doesn't sound like Adriel. It's because I'm sick. So apologies for any of that. After you let your nails dry for 2 minutes, I highly suggest adding a little cuticle oil to everywhere on your nails and then just rub that in. And that is it. Cuticle oil is one of my biggest winter necessities because legitimately my cuticles get so dry and they end up looking horrible. So I just keep a tiny cuticle oil with me in the car, in my purse, next to my bedside. And it really helps improve how my nails look and how they feel, especially in the winter months when I'm washing my hands all the time. Super easy. I hope this tutorial's helped. If you guys have any questions, don't forget to ask down below. But other than that, I love you guys and I hope this tutorial's been helpful for you. See you in my next video.